shall devour you, and leave not a solitary scrap of flesh on your bones.
I have had the pleasure of playing Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake. I have rolled the credits. I have put in over 80 hours of game time. I am currently going through the post game and on my way to get that platinum trophy, and I've got to tell you, I've had a pretty good time, and I'm hoping I can tell you all about it in today's video. So with that all being said, what is up guys, Jen here, hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. As always, got you covered with timestamps down below, so if you want to skip to a certain section of this video, feel free to do so. All I ask is for you to hit that like button, and if you want to stick around for some more Dragon Quest content, then please consider hitting the subscribe button. The code was provided to me by Square Enix, though that being said, these are all my opinions and my opinions alone. So I want to start off this video with giving you a brief history of my Dragon Quest history. Now I have a playlist up there of the games I've completed so far if you want to get a more of an in-depth perspective, but I played 1, 2, 4, 5, playing through 6, going to play 8, and just completed 3. And I've got to be honest, I'm absolutely loving my time with the Dragon Quest series. It's slowly becoming one of my most favorite series of all time. Now, with this being my first playthrough of Dragon Quest 3, I don't know what's really been added, what's been taken away, or anything in between. So if you've noticed something that I've said and it feels new to me, please let me know in the comment section below, because it might be new, it might not be. But let's dive in to the story of Dragon Quest 3. With me not long doing Dragon Quest 1 and 2, I already had the context, but it was so nice to have the origin story of Erdrick. Not only that, we dove in deep with Ortega's story. There are scenarios dotted throughout the story. Some of them you'll come across them naturally, some of them you need to go off the off-beaten path to get more context on what Ortega did on his journey to try and stop Baramos. Not only that, I am pretty satisfied going back to Dragon Quest 1 and 2 because of the things that they left, the little breadcrumbs and the setup they have for the next 2 games. Not only that, we have voice acting. Now, the main cast that you play as are not voiced, they have battle voice lines, but a lot of the story beats, and especially Ortega's story, is voice acted. It definitely adds a little bit more to the story, and it does it pretty damn well. Now, I'm a little bit excited now because we're going to be talking about the gameplay of Dragon Quest 3, and we're going to be diving into my favorite part of any RPG, and that is its exploration. I'm going to start off talking about the world map. I'm telling you right now, hands down, this is the best world map I have ever experienced in an RPG. It's obvious that it is expanded upon from the original Dragon Quest 3 games, but it is such a treat to go through. They mentioned in an interview that they took inspiration from Zelda Breath of the Wild, so you'd always get distracted like, what's that over there? What could that be? Is there a secret here? And it works so damn well in an RPG world map environment. I just found myself getting distracted like, hey, that tree looks a little bit different. What's that weird rock formation over there? Can I enter these? And of course I can enter these. And then I come out of them and I'm like, hey, there's a sparkly over there. There's a sparkly over here. And it just added to that experience. Yes, it probably inflated my game time, but I had such a treat and I felt rewarded every time that I did it. Also, with this being a traditional world map, an old school world map, we've got many ways to traverse: on foot, via the ship, or in air, and it is a treat to witness in an HD 2D environment. Let's simmer down a little bit from the world map. Let's talk about the other aspects of exploration. Let's start off with towns. Towns feel damn unique. Each location feels different. Dragon Quest 3's towns represent real life locations and they look stunning combined with that HD 2D style. Now, there is an option in Dragon Quest to have a mini-map and to even have your quest objective marked for you, but I suggest that you just stick with the mini-map and go out there in these towns, speak to the NPCs, get to know the world, and you never know, one might slip up here or there to let you know where the next location is, or they might tell you about where a monster might be hidden, or they might tell you about a rare item or something you might use at a later date. Not only that, there's a small little mechanic in the game called the recall mechanic, where you can can save conversations you've had with NPCs. So if you speak to an NPC and you think, I need to remember that, I'm sure I'm going to need to remember that at a later time, you can save it in a recall system, but it's only limited to have up to 30 memories in it. And I didn't really find myself using it very much. Not only that, we of course have barrels, we have pots, we have chests, we have sparklies, more things to find, and it's always nice going back to somewhere where I've been before with my thief abilities or my animal instinct abilities and find a few things that I've missed here or there. There's also the usual shops, there's inns for you to rest at to change the time of day, because the time of day can affect certain monster appearances, which we'll go into a little bit later. I'm going to touch on the dungeons since we're still on the exploration phase, and I'm absolutely loving it. I love the variation of dungeons, I love the look of them, I love the feel of them, I love the little puzzles that are thrown into a couple of them as well. And all in all, exploration in Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake is a treat. Before I dive into combat, I want to talk about the Monster Wrangler and the Monster Arena. I feel like this is a good section to talk about it, so let's talk about the Monster Arena first. Now, to take part of the Monster Arena, these are located in various towns throughout Dragon Quest III, you need monsters, and you can find monsters in numerous ways. You can find them in these hidden locations, they could be in towns, or there could be ones hidden amongst the townspeople that might need a little bit of reflection to see their true form. Some of them do require certain times a day, some of them require you to be quiet, some of them might need you to require to smell quite strong. There are various ways to collect these monsters, and if you collect a duplicate of a monster, it levels that monster up, so it's a little bit stronger in the Monster Arena. The one thing that just makes monster collecting so fun is the creative names for all of these monsters. There's some damn right dad joke ones, and there's some little nods and Easter eggs to things that I'm sure fans will appreciate. So the arena in a nutshell works a lot like Dragon Quest monsters. You just pick a tactic for your monster and they will perform along those lines. Obviously, the more abilities you have, the more flexibility you will have, but the main rewards here are certain items and gold. And then there's the Monster Wrangler. You need this class to try and find out where a lot of these monsters are, but not only that, they earn abilities when you hit certain milestones of monsters found. Also, they do learn abilities naturally through leveling up in battle. And talking about battle, let's talk about the combat. Now, I'm just going to go straight off the bat here. You're going to be getting into a lot of random encounters, especially if you're trying to grind, especially if you're trying to hunt down some of those metal slimes and liquid metal slimes. There's going to be a lot of encounters, and this goes to my next point. First person battles. It seems to be a big conflict between people. Honestly, after the 80 hours I've played, I much prefer the first person combat because I don't think I could sit through all these animations. This is a very grind heavy game, and it was said in interviews that they wanted to make this as streamlined as possible, as snappy as possible, and it hits all the marks here having a first person battle system. You're going to even wish there's a higher setting than ultra fast, trust me. But all in all, combat is your traditional turn-based combat, and of course when you get to boss fights you might want to think a little bit harder and look at your whole repertoire of spells and skills you have to ensure you get the victory. The biggest contributing factor to combat is the vocation system, or the job system if you're a Final Fantasy fan like me. There are going to be two main locations you're going to be visiting throughout this journey. When it comes to vocations, that's going to be Patty's Place, and it's going to be the All Trades Abbey. Now, Patty's Place is where you can get new recruits, and you can even customize your own recruits with names and appearances. And then the All Trades Abbey is where you're going to change your vocation. So essentially each character you have in your party can learn every single ability that is available in Dragon Quest III. And there is a caveat to this. You will be reset to level 1 and you'll have to start again, but it halves your stats so it doesn't feel that bad, and you'll be back with the rest of the party in no time. On the subject of vocations, I'm going to briefly talk about personalities. Personalities, there are many personalities in Dragon Quest III. Heck, even when you start the game, you go through a series of questions and scenarios for your main character's personality. But these can all be changed through either accessories, as long as they are equipped in your first accessory slot, or through the various books you collect along the way. My own traveler tip right now, since we're on this subject of personalities, have a look at the traveler's tips, because this will have all of the descriptions of what each personality will do when it comes to leveling up. Right. I think I've talked about everything I want to when it comes to the game itself, but I want to briefly touch upon the end game because that's what I'm tackling right now. I'm always a fan of a bestiary, and there is a bestiary here in Dragon Quest III for you to fill out and get 100%, as well as an item catalog. So if you're someone that wants to 100% everything, there are the tools here in the menus to ensure that you have the satisfaction of looking through that. There's also mini medals, and there are the monsters to recruit. There are many of these to collect. I'm doing it right now. I've been doing a lot of backtracking, going back to towns, using my thief abilities to see if I've missed anything or make something appear on the map. Use my animal instinct to sniff out any more enemies that might have appeared along the way, or maybe ones that I've missed. There is a lot of reason to just keep adding and getting more rewards and getting the most powerful armor and weapons for this end game. There are also some pretty intense end game content that I'm not going to really talk about because it's kind of spoilish, but I am having a pretty unique time with this, not only with battles, but with certain requirements of doing some of this endgame content. And of course, the trophies. I'm playing on PlayStation 5. There are a plethora of trophies to collect, and I think the ones that people have trouble the most is 100%ing the bestiary, getting every single item, getting every single mini medal, and collecting every single monster. Now that's all of the game out of the way. I want to touch on the music before we wrap things up. I adore the Dragon Quest soundtrack. Yes, it can sound the samey as you go through more and more games, but I think I'm just slowly getting used to it, and it's like coming home each time I play a new Dragon Quest game. But I've got to shout out the world map music. This seems to be my favorite piece of music. I don't know if it's because I spent so long on the world map because of how big it is, but it definitely deserves a shout out. I love the adventure of Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake, and I think that's probably the best place for us to finish today's video. I thank you for your time. If you want to talk about Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake, please leave comments down below if there's something you want to know, or if there's something you want to tell me if you've played the original, or if you're new to the series. Let's have a conversation. It's always a good time. So with that, I thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.